Ralph Ruiz, who was a Catholic priest in the Archdiocese, shortly after he was ordained, came here with the blessings of the Archdiocese to create a war on poverty for the church. So they spent most of their time working with the community to develop leadership so that the community can have some say on how things should be and work towards that. And that's really the start of Inner City. And in '68, he started the incorporation papers for inner city development so that it could continue outside of the Archdiocese if they ever ceased to continue. When Ralph left in, I believe it was 1969, 1970, he asked us to take over. We had just moved into the neighborhood about a year before that and started working as volunteers with the organization. I think the main thing is that it was, my wife came here to live and work in a low-income community. I was about to do the same thing in Los Angeles, where I'm from, but she was coming to Texas, and I followed her here, and so it was an ideal opportunity for us to start working with the community. I think part of the thing is just being comfortable in the community that you live and work. That's very easy to do here because people are very open. In Los Angeles, where I lived near Inglewood, I hardly knew anybody on my block, and I lived there for 20 years. Here, you know people, and you get to know people quickly, and there's a real sharing that takes place where if somebody has a need, neighbors help out each other. San Antonio Alternative Housing was created 25 years after the formation of Inner City. Alternative housing is primarily an organization that deals with affordable housing for low-income families, low and moderate-income families. But over the years, they've built about 400 homes for first-time home buyers. At first, we started with just single houses, scattered site type things, and then we grew up to, I think the largest subdivision we did was 120. Rental housing, we've done rental housing here as well as rental housing up in Austin, Texas. Currently, we only own one property in Austin, but it's a large one, 336 units. Locally, we have a half dozen multifamily, and then we have scattered sites. We have about 50 scattered site homes, mainly in this community here, because the biggest need is in this neighborhood. I think the main thing is just leadership development. Obviously, from a housing standpoint, alternative housing has housed a lot of families that normally wouldn't be able to have good, affordable housing. Inner city, though, a lot of our programs involve youth, and they kind of come up through the ranks, and now some of those youth are on our board because as they became adults, they saw the positive aspects of being involved in their community, and I think that's probably the biggest thing, because we have people taking care of their own communities, and that's the way it should be. The room that you're in right now, this expansion is one of 4 expansions that took place over the years. But since we've been here, we've added on to it 4 times, and so that used to be a wall over there. This was added on, and then we added this on over here. Added the pavilion, added the 2-story volunteer house on the other side of and expanded with alternative housing on the backside. It's the old thing of, there's a song that's been done by many folk singers called "There But for Fortune," and you can't, live in a community of need without responding. I think a lot of folks in our society today aren't exposed to communities of need, and thus they react from a distance. And when you're in the middle of a community of need, you learn, yes, the needs that have to be addressed, and you want to do something about that, but you also learn about the giving and the caring that takes place. Often with social service programs, people lose the dignity in that process, and from all the forms and everything they have to do and how they're treated. And so everybody has a orientation here that as long as you keep dignity in the process and people can feel positive about that through volunteering, then we've done our goal.